All right, welcome back to another edition of Green Squad Chats. Thanks for joining us today. Today, we're discussing the topic of networking and how networking can mean something different to a lot of different people. It depends on who you're talking to. It depends on their perspective. But it's hard to deny how important it is to build relationships and network. I like to look at it as building a team. It's hard to deny how important that is if you're trying to be an entrepreneur, create a small business, and kind of build something extraordinary. I'll kind of throw that out there to the group if anyone's got some additional things to add to that.
Yeah, I think, Brandon, there is a lot of confusion about what networking means. And like you said, it means something different to everybody. To me, it just means sharing with other people what I'm doing, and opportunities then present themselves, sometimes in unexpected ways. You got to be kind of open and honest about what you're doing, what you want. And you'll find that a lot of people remember that. You tell somebody, maybe you're a real estate agent. A day, a week, a month later, they say, wow, I need a real estate agent. Wind up calling you back or referring you to a friend. So I think just being honest, and it doesn't have to be walking around handing out business cards. It doesn't have to be getting on LinkedIn and adding 20 connections a week. Networking is simply getting out there and sharing what you do with friends, with strangers, and I think if you do it in an open and honest way, it'll pay dividends.
I have a story about that, actually. So I underestimated the value of networking when I was a younger investor. And I got my real estate license initially so that I could have access to do my own deals. And I had been investing for a little over a year, maybe a year and a half. And I decided I was going to get my own license because I knew enough about the contracts and stuff to just facilitate my own deals. I also had a passion for teaching other people the lessons I had learned so that they didn't have to repeat them themselves. I thought that was valuable for people. So I hosted a little meetup at my house. Had my real estate license at this point, had 5 people come, and a common theme was, how do I do what you're doing? And so I gave a little 30-minute presentation of friends of friends. And one of the guys there said, hey, I want to go do that. I said, okay, you want to buy a house? Do you own a house now? He said, no, I want to do what you're doing. I want a house hack and then move away and use that as a rental. I said, how soon are you ready to get started? I have my license, so we could do that together. He said, tomorrow. He got under contract that weekend, and that was my first ever real estate client. And I didn't plan on that. I never planned on working with clients. That was at the end of 2021. And then in 2022, I said, well, maybe I could just keep doing that. And then I did $6 million of sales volume. All I was doing was trying to provide value to other people via the lessons that I had learned. And I was able to capitalize on that with the value by closing on transactions. And they were very happy with that. So kind of funny how you don't think about the stones you never turn over.
I think networking, it comes down to the Jim Rohn quote about helping others get what they want, and you're always going to be able to get what you want. I think that networking comes from finding those that are below you on the rung and pulling them up to where you are, helping them surpass where you are. Networking, to me, I think is a very energy-centric activity. Talking to people that are excited about what you're doing, and finding people that are above you that keeps the energy alive. It keeps you motivated and disciplined to keep moving forward. And whatever method or mechanism they use to find that is, that to each their own. But at the end of the day, if your networking consists of helping others, bringing value, providing value, whether it's a book recommendation or a contact, or just posting on social media or telling your family at a local get together or somebody like that could be a form of giving value as well.
James, I think the education piece you hit on is key. I think in our group, we're very fortunate to all be relatively educated about investing in real estate, different methods, different options, different classes. And we kind of take for granted maybe that not everybody has that same level of knowledge. And you're right, getting info out there and helping others. What a tremendous way. I too have hosted some networking events for the purpose of educating, friends and acquaintances, and the feedback from it is always tremendous. Travis came down to one of them, I'm pretty sure, down here in my garage. I think on the education side, I think in the military, we do a pretty poor job of this, right? We do a lot of professional military education, whatever your warfare specialty is, we train in that. We're technical experts. And we do offer our service members a lot of life skills. I think we're pretty lacking, though, on the financial side of things. And a couple times now, I've taken time out of a workday and sat down with people with whom I work to share and educate. And just like in the garage, when I do it, the feedback is very positive. I guess maybe to Travis's point as well, you don't do it for your own benefit. You do it to help somebody else. But odds are it winds up coming back in spades somehow, some way.
Early as an investor, it's easy to be selfish. How can I learn more? How can I do more? How can I build this? And I have evolved into more of a mindset of, if I put that in, Travis talked about energy. If I put that energy, that positive value out there for people, it comes back. I've seen it come back.
Yeah. And you feel so much more fulfilled when the purpose was to kind of help somebody along. I heard somebody say it, not in this group, but I've heard it before, that look back at yourself 2 years ago or whatever period of time. Think about where you were, how you were just starting out. And then here you are now. Now try to help 2 years ago you, try to help that person along. And if that's kind of your focus on the things you're putting out there, it's like, how can I bring somebody who is 2 years removed from being where I'm at and help them get to where I'm at right now? When I started kind of looking at it like that a little bit more as it relates to just kind of putting my social stuff out there, putting my voice out on LinkedIn, for example, and within mind, helping somebody 2 years behind me get to where I'm at. And it's like, there's a lot more purpose there. And I feel a lot more fulfilled than if you're just trying to put stuff out there to gain a sale or to gain a client or something like that. Right. It makes you, it's much more purpose driven that way.
Those are really good points, Brandon. And I'll share this. I met one of my closest friends in Tampa that exact way. I won't share his name. I don't know if he'd want me to mention his name on this podcast, but such a driven, very high moral character kind of guy. He's doing an Ironman triathlon, like literally today, right now. Just an all around awesome guy to be around. He was actually going to be one of my tenants. And he's about a decade younger than me, but he was going to be one of my tenants. And it didn't work out for other reasons. It was fine. But he asked me if I was doing more rentals and more real estate acquisition. I don't know if test is really the right word, but I'll evaluate where someone's at. And I said, yeah, I'm actually going to look at a house in 2 days. Meet me there at 7 a.m. And mentally, I'm thinking, like, if he doesn't show up, that's it. I'm not gonna chase him down so that he can learn if I can provide him value. He showed up, and ever since, he's just been continuing to show up. He's started his own business. He's doing some wholesaling. He's grown his W-2. To see him grow as a function, I'm providing him just a little bit, but if that little bit allows him some tools to where he can capitalize on that in his life, I mean, that's really special.
We are ignorant when it comes to finances because we think that the only thing that we're taught coming up is your TSP or your BRS, and that's paper-based, right? Securities. Nobody's getting a class, or nobody, when they bring their command financial specialist, is saying, oh, hey, let's talk about real estate. That's not a thing. That's not a conversation. And it's very unfortunate because we as service members only get stuck with like, oh, invest in the stock market through this mechanism. And it's like, no, man, there's other options. And so when to James's point is that there's lots of people that are like, what, you invest out of state? Yeah, I invest out of state. How do you do that? And how do you even, and like all the questions just, the floodgate gets open and you're like, yeah, man, like we're making it happen. It's what it is. And every day it's constant, like questions about real estate, questions about investing. And it's just, thank you. I appreciate that, man. That makes so much sense. Cool, man. Go off and do great things.
I'm going to try to tie this to networking. Let's see how I do. So 10 years ago, 12 years ago, my wife got me a tap handle for my birthday. A keg of beer, tap handle. And she said, hey, do something with this. And she had a plan or an idea. She thought that I was going to buy a kegerator, small fridge, put in the corner of the garage, and have fresh beer on tap. And unfortunately, or fortunately, as the case may be, I decided to build a bar. And it's a lot easier than you might expect. I mean, definitely easier for somebody like James, who's our master woodworker. So it's probably not up to James's standard, but I figured out how to build a bar. Then at the time, the garage opened up to an alley. And so neighbors were like, what are you doing? I'm building a bar. And then eventually, over about a 6-month period, it morphed into neighborhood happy hour. I'd come home, open the garage door, neighbors would come out, we'd drink beer. And that was probably 10 years ago. I'm actually sitting at the bar now, not drinking. It's too early for that. And
I was going to ask.
No,
I was going to ask if that's the bar.
Yep, I'm sitting at the bar. The neighborhood happy hours have generated so many relationships, and not just for me, for other people. And we host the happy hours because we enjoy hanging out with friends. We enjoy meeting new neighbors. When we first started hosting happy hours, Annie was pregnant with our now 9-year-old. Now our friends bring their kids over, so there's kids running around. People are bringing their dogs, and the amount of relationships that have been built from these happy hours is too many to count. And again, not just for us, for many other people. I'm sure there have been business transactions that have occurred as a result of this. And now when I bump into neighbors that I haven't seen in a couple weeks, they say, hey, when's the next happy hour? The amount of value that has provided to us, not financially, from a fulfillment standpoint, from being able to help other people and bring people together, it's just amazing. The energy's great every single time, and it's wind up being a very positive event that we're just happy to be a part of. So who knows what's going to come out of the next happy hour, but hopefully one day we'll get a Green Squad happy hour here in the garage.
I would love that, man. And it's just another great example of, it's like, what's the intent? Why are you putting together this happy hour? It had nothing to do with finding a business opportunity, or it had everything to do with, hey, I'm just going to do this because I think it's neighborly. It's a place where good people can kind of gather, and then you never know what's going to come out of that, right? So to me, it's always go back to kind of, what's the purpose? Like, what do you want to get out of networking? What do you want to get out of the mastermind group that you're going to join? What do you want to get, or is it,
sure,
what do you want to give?
You hit it, and maybe I didn't say it well enough, but we started this because we enjoyed meeting neighbors, right? That we did it as a way to bring the neighborhood together. And we were able to buy our primary residence because one of our neighbors brought their friend who was a real estate agent. He didn't bring him there to sell me a house, brought him there to drink beer. And I don't know how many beers later, we wound up buying a house with this guy. And then that same guy got us into real estate investing. But that's not why we're doing it. We did it to bring neighbors together.
Brandon, you said the word get, right? And then you kind of smiled and stopped and said give. And if people are networking for the getting, that, because this is a team sport, that getting is going to spread a lot faster than your giving. And unfortunately, it's not going to be good for you. And the giving of masterminds, relationships, of, real estate meetups, like that's where all the money is made, in my opinion.
Yeah, kind of like approaching a relationship, like, not, all right, what can I get out of this? What can I extract out of this? But how can I fit into this, whether it's one person, 5, 100, how do I fit into this and provide at least one nugget, something of value to make somebody's life here better? James, I think
it's finite though. I think, okay, so you guys know I try to be very logical in almost all things. There's a finite amount of value or of networking I can provide. And I think that's worth discussing too. I'll give you an example. If you go to my social media, I have this little link tree and you can book a meeting with me. If you book a meeting with me, I will ask you to fill out this form in preparation for the meeting so that I can best ready myself to talk about what is the right topic for you and what are we going to focus on. If they don't fill out that form, I cancel the meeting. Because if they're not willing to invest their time so that I can bring the most value possible to try and help them, it's not worth my time. And maybe that's a little bit too harsh, but in a finite resource environment where I can't have a meeting with everyone every day, and I'm not saying that like I'm some guru out here. I'm a pretty normal guy that works hard. And if I have some experience I can share with you in some aspect of what you have not done yet in your life on your investing journey, I'm happy to do it. But if you're not going to take the time to fill out a 2-minute form to prepare for that meeting, then I'm not willing to meet you on it. That's kind of what
James,
I'm at
I think
with it.
that's fair. I mean, it's a boundary. It's a healthy boundary to fence off time for those willing to similarly invest. Totally appropriate.
Yeah, I was going to add, completely appropriate. And by doing that, you want to make sure that you are providing value and that the time that you're going to spend with whoever it is that they want help and you can actually provide it to them. And so taking that extra step, it just is like, hey, this tells me, yeah, there's something in this meeting that we can really get together. And I think that I can help you. But without that, you work very hard. There's only so many hours in the day. And so if you're trying to help people, then you're going to say, all right, this call that was scheduled, they didn't even fill out the form. So I don't know that I can help them, but this person, right? Or by opening that slot up, now somebody who does fill it out and I can help. Now I get to spend my time actually helping them out. And it's not that you didn't want to help that other person, but you don't even know if you could because they didn't take it upon themselves to go through the steps to start the communication with you. So completely appropriate in my mind.
Do you get, Jay, I mean, everybody offers mentorship in some form or fashion to others. Is it a good feeling? Do you enjoy that giving back, the educating, the mentoring piece?
Immensely. If I have a strategy in real estate that I have a strong conviction on, like using your VA loan to buy your first property where you can house hack and then move away and use it as a rental, when someone does that and they listen to your advice, and that's advice that provided them education they otherwise would not have known, and you see them do that and they follow up with you like a year later, it is better than making money. That feeling is better than making money. I can't explain it, but it is really valuable. And I love that feeling.
Travis, I gotta throw something over to you, man. You are one of the most generous and giving people of your time that I've seen, in our greater group, the greater mastermind, even, so beyond Green Squad. I have personally watched you kind of put yourself out there, start meetups, host other people's meetups. I mean, just constantly out there. So I'm interested in your take on Tom's question there. Like, what do you get out of that? For the listeners out there, find Travis Hill out on social media and you'll see what I mean. That guy is always giving his time and trying to help bring other people up, raise other people up and make them better. So Travis Hill, go find him.
I appreciate those kind comments. And I get a lot of energy from connecting people, connecting deals to people, connecting. It's very satisfying for me. It re-energizes me. It's a part of like the excitement of finding somebody who is a subject matter expert or somebody that is super, super invested with a high degree of discipline and energy, much like James, to find out what they're doing in the real estate investing world, right? And the podcast that I host with some other War Room members, we're bringing a contractor who all he does is he rehabs commercial multifamily. And I'm super stoked to talk to him. I've never sat down and talked with a guy who does rehabbing of commercial multifamily. Yeah, there's contractors, but that's his sole purpose in life, right? So be able to talk to commercial brokers or to talk to, a land flipper or we had Mike Bell on, who is a fellow War Room member, active duty Navy, and he invests in parking lots. Right. So be able to talk to somebody specifically in a niche that is above you and then be able at the same time to be able to talk to, like I said earlier, talk to that military member's like, wait, I can use a VA loan or I can house hack it. Yes, single lieutenant, you definitely can do that. That is an amazing thing. And guess what you could do every year, the 3 years that you're on station, you could have 3 homes and leave. No way. And to see that light bulb, right? Like they see their mind's eye and they're like, I could be that in 3 years it never gets old. And it constantly reinforces why I enjoy doing it and why it's so important to do it.
I love that. Travis. I knew it, man. That's exactly why I wanted to throw that question your way. It's pretty incredible. Tom, kind of back at you, for that question. What do you think?
It's a tremendous feeling being able to help people out, like James said, and hearing that someone has benefited from taking your advice. I don't think it's an ego thing. I think it's knowing that you helped somebody, right? We all believe in investing in real estate. We all believe in having, a sound financial plan, and seeing somebody go out and find their own success because of education or opportunities or resources that you provided is such a great feeling.
I had a client of mine the other day reached out and he was buying his first investment property and just felt, so here's what made me feel great about it is we have built the relationship together through, he's a client, a life insurance client. And we have built the relationship to the point where he wanted to reach out to me so that we could kind of strategize on his very first investment property. And, I'm not a real estate agent. I don't get compensated for real estate at all. And that was so rewarding to think that I was able to kind of help him, walk him through one of his first real estate deals. Just for the fact that I felt like we had that relationship. We're a true team, and that I could potentially help him be 1% more ready for that, or to make him feel and know that he was on the right path. Man, it's hard to quantify how that makes you feel. All right. Thank you for joining us. Green Squad Chats again this week, talking about networking. And I think it kind of branched over into just how you put yourself out there and how you show up for other people, and really kind of figuring out for yourself, kind of what do you want to give, right, to the relationship. Because, I think that you've heard it here today, right? By giving, you're going to feel that sense of purpose. You're going to feel good. And B, you never know by helping someone else, right? By giving value away, you never know what's going to come back. And not that that's the purpose, but it's those relationships that you're building and helping other people, and it's going to come back to you, I think. Any other final comments or closing words before we sign off? All right. Well, look forward to seeing you all back here next time at Green Squad Chats.